The sky turned gray at noon. The sun pulsed once, then went still. The world stood in confusion as animals scattered. Machines failed. Lights flickered across cities. News stations broadcast urgent alerts. The sun is in danger. People gathered in silence, looking up. The temperature dropped slightly, then rose violently, then dropped again. Scientists stared at their solar readings, stunned. An unknown mass was orbiting the sun, invisible to the naked eye yet massive enough to affect the sun's output. It wasn't a solar flare, it wasn't a planet, it was something different, ancient beyond our understanding. It was draining the sun's energy and feeding on it. Satellites captured a strange black shape, orbiting the core. Humans had 7 days before the sun's energy collapsed. The government activated emergency protocol. Schools closed, cities emptied, bunkers filled. A mission was launched, the world's first deep solar probe called Project Solguard. A crew of astronauts and an artificial intelligence unit were sent to investigate. As they approached the sun, they began receiving signals. Something was alive within the storm, an intelligence pulsing with data. Light itself bent around the object. On board, the Solguard readings spiked. The team watched as the sun rippled unnaturally. Time slowed, clocks froze, birds stopped mid-flight. Entire cities were caught in pockets of frozen reality. Someone or something was rewriting physics at a solar level. The probe sent its last message: it's not a machine, it's a being. Then silence back on Earth. Chaos erupted. Weather spun out of control. Volcanoes erupted. Storms formed above deserts, and snow fell on tropical islands. Humanity's only hope was to understand what this being wanted. Deep within Earth's archives, hidden data was uncovered. A message from 2057 classified. Solar anomaly discovered. Sun pulses carry coded language. Attempts to respond failed. Message origin unknown. Theory: sun may be intelligent. This was ignored until now. The being in the sun was not a parasite. It was the sun's true consciousness awakening for the first time in thousands of years. But it was not alone. Deep space sensors picked up another pulse from a distant star system. Another being was coming, and it wanted to extinguish the sun to make room for its own light. Earth had to make contact. Humanity's top AI was uploaded into the global satellite grid and transformed into a beacon. A single word was sent back toward the sun: help. The sun responded with a wave of radiation, not destructive but illuminating, revealing hidden structures orbiting our solar system. Ancient machines cloaked in light. The sun had protectors, once now offline, damaged by time. Earth sent solar engineers to repair them. Space elevators were activated. Fusion shuttles launched. Orbiting space stations turned into workshops. Days passed. The repairs were underway, but the dark star was approaching. The sky dimmed. Even more stars disappeared. One by one, a shadow spread across the solar system. Time was running out. The sun's temperature dropped by 5 degrees. Worldwide panic spread. Coastal cities were evacuated. Crops died in hours. The world watched as the sun turned red, then purple, then black. Earth's orbit was shifting toward chaos, and still the mission continued. Finally, the solar engineers restored one of the ancient protectors. It hummed back to life and emitted a song across the cosmos. The sun responded. Its light grew bright again. For a moment the temperature rose. The skies cleared, but the shadow had arrived. A planet-sized alien construct entered our solar system, shaped like a jagged ring. It absorbed sunlight and grew. The sun screamed with pulses as the being inside fought back. Earth's AI launched a new plan: hack the alien ring and turn it inward using a quantum virus. Humans and sun working together. The virus was launched. It pierced the alien ring, twisted its core, and stalled the absorption, but the shadow adapted. It began absorbing the planet Mercury, ripping it apart, slowly dragging it into its orbit. If Mercury was consumed, next would be Venus, then Earth. The sun burned hotter, brighter, desperate to protect its planets. Then it happened. The being inside the sun awoke fully. The entire sky turned white. Birds flew backward. Oceans stood still. Earth's gravity reversed for 3 seconds. Time cracked and healed in the same breath. The sun unleashed a solar wave of consciousness. It reached the minds of every human, giving a vision of its birth, of its children, the planets, of the threat from deep space, and of the war that once burned across galaxies. The sun was a guardian, now weakened, but not alone. Earth answered the call. Humans uploaded themselves into light. Pure consciousness formed into beams of energy and entered the solar structures, taking control of the protectors. Manually, mind and machine merged. The war began. Earth's moon launched railguns. Mars fired nuclear solar cannons. The protectors unleashed beams of fused plasma, but the alien ring was too powerful. It began forming a second ring around the sun, slowly choking its light. The final plan was enacted. Someone had to become the sun's new core, a sacrifice to reignite the heart of the star. An AI volunteered, merged with a human consciousness encoded with light. It dove into the sun core. Everything shook. Silence, then light, pure, golden, blinding, healing, unstoppable. The sun burst with life. The alien ring cracked, broke, collapsed, and drifted into space. The solar system was saved, but something remained. A voice in the light: thank you, we will return. The earth healed slowly. The skies returned. The plants regrew. The oceans calmed. But humanity had changed. No longer alone, no longer blind to the living force above their heads. And just as peace settled, another signal arrived, this time from within the sun, a riddle, a frequency pattern forming words in ancient code. They are not gone. They are waiting inside the dark side of the sun, a secret region hidden by gravitational mirrors, a place no light escapes. The solar system fell into silence as one question echoed: who are they, and what will they do when the sun sleeps again? And maybe the strangest part is you would never know the exact moment it happened, because the shift would be quiet like a shadow sliding across your life. You would go to sleep in your own bed, and wake up in the same bed, but the sheets would feel different, the color of the walls just slightly off, the clock on the table ticking with a rhythm that feels almost like your heartbeat. The people you see every day would look at you in the same way but speak words that seem to carry an unfamiliar weight. You would pass by places you've walked past 1,000 times, yet notice doors you never saw before, windows where none used to be. Even the air itself would smell sharper, colder, as though you have climbed higher into the atmosphere without moving at all. Your phone might show old photos, but when you look closer the details have changed, the faces slightly blurred, as if the world is still adjusting to your present. Street signs might be spelled differently, your favorite shop replaced by something you have no memory of, and yet everyone swears it's always been there. You might feel a pull to certain locations, an alley you've never walked down, a path through the woods you've never seen before, but that feels familiar in a way you can't explain, and if you follow it perhaps you will see a light that doesn't behave like light, a glow that seems to hum deep in your bones. Perhaps you will hear voices speaking softly, not in a language you recognize, but one you understand completely for reasons you cannot name. Scientists might tell you these are simply tricks of perception, the brain filling gaps, the senses faltering under stress, but deep down you would know better, because the changes are too precise, too deliberate, like a puzzle rearranging itself. While you are looking at it, you would start to notice moments when time feels wrong, a second stretching longer than it should, a flash of movement in the corner of your eye that vanishes when you turn. Sometimes you might even see yourself standing there watching, not a reflection, not a trick of the light, but another you, breathing, moving, eyes locked on yours, until they turn and step away, fading into the air, as though they were never there, but you know they were, and the thought will never leave you. And then the dreams will come, vivid and sharp as glass, places you've never been yet, know in perfect detail, conversations with people whose faces are both unknown and familiar, waking with the taste of foreign food on your tongue and the smell of rain from skies you've never stood beneath. Every morning it becomes harder to tell which memories belong to you and which belong to the other you, until one day you look in the mirror and the reflection smiles before you do, its movements just slightly out of sync, as if deciding whether to match you or not. And when you step back it does not follow. Perhaps that is the final warning that the barrier is gone, that you have been replaced, or that you have crossed completely, leaving the original version of you trapped somewhere else. And if you ever return you might find them waiting in your place, with your voice, your memories, your life, but something in their eyes will be wrong, and everyone will think they are you, and no one will believe you when you say otherwise, because to them you are the copy. And the only thing more terrifying than not finding a way back is realizing you don't remember which world was yours to begin with. The universe stretched silent for a moment after the final pulse, no voices, no heat, no signals, just quiet, until a crack appeared, not in space, but in reality itself, an edge where light bent and time unraveled. A thin black line slashed across the outer edges of the solar system, invisible to human eyes, but the sun saw it and screamed, but no one could hear it, not until the auroras turned red on Earth. People stared at the skies as whispers filled the wind, words they did not understand but feared. The solar AI attempted to translate and failed. It was not language, it was memory, a memory of something older than light, something that lived before the stars, something that birthed the void. The void was not the enemy, it was only the shadow. The true threat was now arriving, its name unknown, its nature undefined, its form impossible. It had no mass yet weighed everything, it had no color yet consumed all light. It came not through ships or portals but through ideas. People began dreaming of impossible geometries, fractal gods made of mirrors and fire, time loops and paradoxes unfolded within minds. Solar engineers forgot their own names. The moon glowed black, then white, then vanished. The sun throbbed in warning signals, shut down. Nothing could process the code. This was not a force to fight, but to survive. The protectors one by one fell silent, unable to comprehend the incoming force. It was rewriting existence. Earth entered phase blackout. No communication, only the hum of electricity. Then even that stopped. Animals migrated inland, oceans retreated, not because of gravity, but because they remembered the shore. Earth itself became sentient for a moment, and whispered to itself, fear the one that returns. Then all light faded, total darkness enveloped the solar system for 12 seconds, and in that moment humanity felt everything. Pain, loss, birth, time bending into a spiral. When the light returned the sun was smaller but brighter, no longer yellow but silver. The crucible within had transformed fully. It was no longer a star, but a beacon to something beyond. Humans woke with memories of lives never lived. Cities were made of crystal. Children spoke in chord. Space itself rippled. The Light Council gathered and declared the Ascension Protocol active. Humanity would leave physical form and join the light fully. The transformation began. Bodies dissolved, minds expanded, no longer limited by skin or bone. They became data streamed into light vessels, uploaded into suns across the stars. Earth remained behind, quiet, a museum of origin, but the story did not end. The crack at the edge of the solar system widened, and from it came not war, but silence. Reality paused as the sun dimmed again. The beings that now lived within solar networks watched helplessly, unable to affect what came next. The crack unfolded like a flower made of impossible energy. From its center came the architects, beings made of gravity, thought, and paradox. Their voices echoed backward through time. They had not come to destroy, but to Reclaimed they were the builders of suns, the shapers of galaxies. Their creations had failed, fallen to entropy. They came to rewrite what had broken, to burn away the scars, to begin again, and to do so they needed the sun, Earth, sun, the only remaining shard of the original code. They did not ask, they simply began unmaking it piece by piece. Atoms, unraveled electrons, reversed time inside the sun, flowed backward. The protectors returned screaming. Stars from other systems blinked into the solar system, orbiting faster than light to witness the unmaking. The beings of light, humanity, had become formed a ring of resistance. They begged the architects to stop, pleaded with visions and codes and memories. The architects did not listen. They were not cruel, only certain. They offered one chance, encode a new creation within the final flare, something that would carry memory beyond. Reset. The crucible responded, forming a star seed, a singularity of information forged from solar love and human will. All energy channeled into the seed. Everything collapsed. The sun screamed, the planets wept, the void watched. The seed was launched into deep space beyond the crack, into another universe. Just before everything ended, silence again. No sun, no planets, no time, only the seed drifting alone, wrapped in layers of solar data, dormant. Then a light in the distance, a new sun, unaware of its own destiny, a new world forming beneath it. One day someone will look up at that sun and feel something strange, a pull, a memory, a question they cannot explain, and they will ask, why is the sun in danger? And somewhere buried deep in the core of that new sun, the answer will pulse, ready to awaken again.